Hey Beer Geeks, and welcome to what I think is one of the most exciting, innovative and consistent new craft breweries in the UK and therefore possibly the world. Today I am down at Two Flints in Windsor, pretty much within view of the King's Castle of Windsor, and we are brewing with them for our incredible second version of Love and Beer, our beer festival on the 14th of September. Unless you're watching this on Dave, you can still buy tickets. Tickets are still available where you'll be able to taste the beer that we brewed today, a delicious NZ hopped Hazy IPA, as well as a whole host of other exciting beers that we'll be brewing with other breweries and indeed getting other incredible breweries to collaborate on. We've got an incredible beer list and an incredible chat for you today about the way that IPA is headed, about the ways that we can create lots of unique and unusual and innovative textures and flavours in IPA, and of course, the story of this very, very exciting brewery here in Windsor. Don't go anywhere. Cheers. So I'm here with Alex, founder of Two Flints. Thank you very much for having me. I've been a fan of your brewery at a distance for a little while after I tasted your beers at Raise the Bar for London Craft Beer Festival, and I thought your Keller beer was amazing, and I've discovered so are your IPAs, so that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about Two Flints. Where did it come from?
We'll blame the Colonel probably for getting me into this mess.
It's got a lot to blame. A lot of blame coming their way.
Yeah, early days Bermondsey, drinking Colonel beer, falling in love with that kind of side of drinking things. I was doing something very different, office job, which led me out to Singapore, and it was there where I got into homebrewing. So back in 2017, bought my grandfather and fell in love with the magic that is homebrewing, and you know, hearing that airlock bubble for the first time.
Yeah.
And waiting for the bottle conditioning to carbonate was what hooked me in. And yeah, slowly went from plastic buckets to, you know, more stainless. Took it a little bit more seriously. So much so, lockdown came. More time on my hands to brew, and yeah, it was either do I continue doing a job that I'm not that fulfilled with, or do I take the leap and naively start a brewery?
Yeah.
So yeah, did some exams out in Singapore, did a diploma back in the UK, and got some commercial experience. So worked at a few breweries in London. And then started looking for a space to put a brewery and tap room.
So you sort of skipped to boss level a little bit. You within a couple of years went from, I guess, pretty much apprentice to I'm going to own this shit.
Yeah, I looked at potentially becoming an apprentice brewer, and sadly the salary for the stage of life I was in wouldn't.
Of course, founding a brewery financially is a very sensible decision as well, I've heard. It's a beautiful space. It's a classic railway arch as well, keeping that dream alive, right by Windsor and Eton Central as well. So it's a great location, and we're in the tap room, which I guess gets busy at the weekends.
Yeah, we're right next to and there's another station down the road. Views of the castle, and the tap room is a great vibe on the weekend. So
when you opened, was there like a vision for the beers and the philosophy, and has that changed? I guess often you have to fit into the space you're in, and
yeah, I guess so. I've always what got me into it is hops. So we do predominantly make hoppy beer. Our kind of ethos and strategy in the brewery is kind of in three segments. So hoppy beer is our main element. We love lager, both Brett and I, the head brewer Brett, and I love lager. At the moment, we're a bit constricted as to how much lager we can make because of our size. And the third kind of angle of that was to start up a mixed firm project, which is more Brett's kind of passion project. So clean saison,
in the name and the nature,
barrels. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of Brett brewers out there. I don't know whether it's
quite a few.
Determinism or what.
Yeah.
And since you've opened, I think everyone I speak to is like, well, we love hops, and we ended up making even more hops than we intended. But what's been really interesting, like hanging out here this morning while we're brewing the beer, which we'll get into, is like more than most brewers I meet, you take a radically different approach to each hoppy beer that you make. Like quite often I'll sit down with the brewer and they'll say, oh, well, for our 6% hazies we do this, and for our West Coast we do this. Whereas every beer on that tap seems to have something else you've been experimenting with. So is that the home brewer in you, or is that still trying to nail your IPAs?
Definitely, yeah, a little bit of both. We've been brewing here for just over 18 months, so we are still pretty new. We're still trying to dial in the kit. And for us, experimentation is what I think is the fun part of brewing. So we'll often tweak little things here and there. I don't think we've ever made an IPA that's the same or the same process, but we have now landed on a bit more of a structure, both on the West Coast and the East Coast beers, and that is really to create a platform for the hops to shine. And what I mean by that is on the West Coast, for example, we typically make a more modern style. So that's stripped back malt character, and that is fermenting with a lager yeast, and it really just is a clean canvas for the hops to shine. For our hazy beer, as we discussed this morning, we've chosen a yeast that is more West Coast leaning. It creates great mouthfeel, but it's not super estery that gets in the way of the hops. So it's both sides of the coast, East Coast and West Coast, are making platforms for the hops just to sing and do their thing.
Because with a lot of New England IPAs, you're wondering a little bit, is this the yeast or are these the hops talking with that kind of really fruity aroma? Whereas with the beer we're going to make, it's very much everything is going to be hop forward, as we used to say. Yeah. But so obviously we don't have the beer that we're brewing in front of us. This is Chili Bin, which is a collab with Phantom, which has some of the hops that we are going to be using in our brew.
It does, yeah. So we are huge fans of hops, all hops, but in particular New Zealand hops. And we just love their uniqueness. I think if you were to be blindfolded and be put on a table, you could say that is a New Zealand hop, just because they're so unique. And even within those different varieties, they carry such different characteristics. It's not all tropical juice. There is so many different layers of other things going on. Chili Bin, this is a beer. It's got equal splits of Nelson Sauvin and Motueka, and this one has got a slightly higher finishing gravity than the beer we're making today. So more of the sort of modern New England style, where it's pretty full-bodied and
delicious hop custard is
exactly.
People think that's pejorative. When I say it, I mean it as an entirely positive thing. Just rich, velvety, and loaded with tropical fruit.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think those two hops work really well together. Nelson Sauvin is the hop that kind of put the New Zealand hop market on the map. You get that white wine, you get that sort of gooseberry. It's loaded with free thiles, which kind of can give a little bit of a rhubarb character, and then you've got the Motueka, which is less intense but gives you that slight tartness, that slight lime zest character. So two amazing hops. Can't really make a bad beer with those.
No, I've had a go while homebrewing, but it is hard to do. So we've got some of the hops that we're going to be using today. So this is Nelson. Should we give that a rub? So I mean, people talk about New Zealand hops a lot more, I think, than they used to. It used to be, we throw in Nelson Sauvin every now and then when we can sort of get it, and it feels like, hey, New Zealand hop growers are having a real marketing push, but also people are much more excited about I guess trying to find differences and nuances in a style that is literally, it's a joke that is it Citra Mosaic or Mosaic Citra?
Yeah,
And that's becoming less and less
exactly
true. So what is it that you love about these Ends Head hops?
Yeah, I think it's just that unique character. It's that mix of fruit forward, but also whether it's a bit of savouriness, whether it's a little bit of resinous, it's the kind of the complexity of the hop. And yeah, Nelson Sauvin, one of our favourites here. Nextron is another one that we love to use. It's hard to describe what that smell and flavour is, but it's not just full out juice. It's that slight savoury character that we absolutely love.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so we've called this beer Pastille or Pastil.
Yeah.
Because when I sniff, particularly raw, like this, just reminds me of green fruit pastils, which I absolutely love. That sort of limey, tangy, almost kind of bitter kind of greenness, along with that big, sweet, tropical kind of fruitiness.
Yeah.
And that's why I love this hop, and also Motueka, which is going in. Everybody watches the Craft Beer Channel knows that I put Motueka in every home brewer I do.
You weren't coming down to do a collab if we weren't.
No, exactly. That's what I said via email. Yeah, we'll only travel for Motueka.
Yeah, that's going in a decent charge in the dry hop. I mean, typically when we make hoppy beers as well, we'll tend to have one hop that's driving the charge.
Yeah.
And then have other, 2 or 3
backing up
hops just to give it that complexity and back it up. But what we want is that clear hoppy character. And this one, will be Nelson Sauvin. So we've got a few different varieties going into the dry hop. T90s. We've also got some cryo pellets, and and then right at the very end, before we package, we've got some Nelson Sauvin hop keef, which is concentrated lupulin in liquid form, and it will just hopefully make that beer jump out of.
It looks like if you're doing home brewing in space, that's what you carry your hops in. Essentially, it's this magic little thing that we've used Motueka keef and a couple of other ones, and it's just a massive pop of aroma.
So it'll be very Nelson Sauvin heavy, but you'll get the lime zest and hopefully some characteristics from the third hop. Yeah,
so from Raquel, which is not a hop I've ever rubbed or brewed with. So this, we agreed on a New Zealand hop, and I was a hopped IPA, and I was like, right, well, my requests are 40 IBUs at least.
Yeah. New territory for us.
yeah. I keep doing this with our collabs and just pushing the IBUs more. And Motueka, and this was something that you sort of suggested. You said that you were really happy with this particular you're getting.
We love Raquel. I think it's it's not one of the headline New Zealand hops, but it's one that can play really, really well with some of the heavier hitters. This Raquel, is get a bit of like apricot stone fruit, but then it's also that slight dank and resinous character that is not always present in the other New Zealand hops, and it'll play just a small part in creating a more complex character. But this is sort of quite dank and sweaty.
It's got that aroma which whenever you first toss really big aromatic hops into a whirlpool, and you get that insane sticky or slightly illicit orange dankness straight out at you.
Yeah.
It's got that before we've added it. So I don't know what compound, what chemical that is, but it just smells like it's already in the wort.
Yeah.
Like it's already sticky and sweet. And
it's a great hot side hop, and that's the other reason why we love using New Zealand hops. Hot side is because they carry through the beer so well.
Right.
And Yakima have done their hop survival studies on what hops last throughout the brewing process, and it would be cool to see a New Zealand one happen, because I've no doubt that they'd be
very, very high.
Be pretty high.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just very punchy, they're unique, and they stay in the beer very well.
But so you sprung on me this morning. We're going to use a slightly different yeast, which you're experimenting with. That like you said, won't have so much ester character, but it will help the body, but leave the hops to kind of show.
Yeah, so we've got a yeast that we shipped over from the States. It is A72 is the strain from BSI. It was sourced from a brewery in San Francisco. We don't know which one, but it's typically a more West Coast leaning brewery, which is obviously typically not used in Hazy IPA. But what we found, what after doing a bit of studying, is that if we stress this yeast out, we still get that pillowy mouthfeel, that glycerol production increases, but because it's a West Coast strain, you won't get that ester profile that will overtake the hops.
Because it's interesting, like at the end of the day, to a drinker that doesn't know what they're about to drink, it's going to taste like a New England IPA because those hops are going to bring it.
Yeah.
But we, as beer geeks and at the festival, are going to know, we can go, this is Nelson, Motueka and Rakow and what they bring, not what, say, Verdant Yeast or Saturated are bringing.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're still, beer 3, so we're still getting to grips with how it plays around, but we're excited by the first 2 beers that we made, and it should just be that platform for the hops to jump out of the glass.
So we've had lots of conversation on the Craft Beer channel recently about whether, this old cliche of like, is Hazy IPA either killing craft or killing craft beer culture? Why, like, is there too much IPA out there? Is it killing innovation? And it, I think it's definitely true that innovation is very much focused on how to make the best Hazy IPA. But it feels like a lot of that innovation is actually trying to step away from big, intense, rich, juicy hop custard and trying to bring nuance and balance, which is why New Zealand hop's getting popular. Why these kinds of yeasts are getting more attention from brewers, why things like Bright IPA, California IPA, Mountain IPA being talked about. Where do you sort of see, from what people are drinking and what you like making, where is Hazy IPA kind of headed?
Yeah, I think for us, our approach to Hazy IPA is we want massive aroma, but we want drinkability. So having those overly sweet, beers that finish at 10:30, they might be nice for half a can, but that's not what we're interested in here. We want to create a dryish beer, a beer with potentially a few more IBUs than has been seen before. Not 40, but and
it's gonna be a one-off as far as Two Flints is concerned.
And drinkability. It comes down to drinkability. We don't like any of that hot burn harshness. Should be smooth, drinkable, a little bit dry, a little bit more bitterness, and something where you could have a couple of cans and not get bored of it. So that's our approach.
Craft sort of feels like maybe it's gone a little bit too far, and it's just coming back and going, well, we still want to drink, if not pints, 2/3 of this. And
exactly, and it's interesting to see on the West Coast how the bitterness is coming down on those beers, and I think on both sides of the states, it's really just to try and make a more drinkable beer, where it's less sweet and it's less bitter, and they're probably quite similar. Becoming more similar.
Yeah, because I feel like this is where our collab is hopefully going to land. Like, maybe for some people it will have a touch too much bitterness. It'll be interesting to see at the festival, but it's going to be hopefully an incredibly drinkable 6% beer, because you also said the yeast will lower the pH just a touch.
It's going to tarnish.
It's going to be something that presents slightly differently on the palate, but it's going to have all of that aroma still.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
We can always fine it and make it a West Coast if we want.
That's the only difference. Well, I hope that what people take away from this video is A, that NZ hops are great, and B, that making New England IPA is not just a case of shoving Citra Mosaic and WHC saturated into it. There's a lot more you can do after you've done that. And that's what makes a really great IPA, the difference between people that make a solid Citra Mosaic and people that really dig in and geek out and create unique different forms of New England IPA. With the in-depth geeking over and before the IBUs and ABVs made it irresponsible for me to be doing the hop edition, we cracked open the bags of glorious NZ hops and added them to the whirlpool. I left Brett and the machine to dig out the mash tun and headed back to the station with my head swimming with ideas and hop oils, excited to try this unique approach to a style all too often described as samey. Okay, Beer Geeks, it's an absolutely huge day in craft beer channel land today. For one, this morning, copies of my book finally arrived. You guys are seeing the official final cover and first book before anybody else pretty much in the world in all its foiled glory. It's an incredible cover that's been done by Michael Kirkham. You'll see into everything has been integrated. Some beer, like that microscope that's made out of bottles. Huge thanks to Ollie Smith for the wonderful, wonderful quote on the front, and Mark's incredibly charitable quote as well. Really appreciate that. So this is out on the 7th of November. There's links to pre-order down below. This is all about how beer changed, well, built and changed the world, and I'm hoping that this beer is going to change my world as well. So this is our collaboration with Two Flints. It's called Pastil, after the fact that I think that Nelson Sauvin hops smell of green fruit pastils. It's Rakow, Nelson Sauvin, Motueka, really neutral yeast. So we're expecting still hopefully loads of body from that yeast, but all of the aroma, all of that juicy aroma is going to be coming from the hops, which I'm very excited to find out about. So here we go. This was packaged very end of last week. So it's about 5 days old in the package. Oh, I didn't do that on camera. There we go. Look at that. Oh, yes. Lovely, really pale colour, which is what we were going for in the mode of people like Fidens and Monkish. Really pale yellow, more like cloudy apple juice than orange juice, which is the usual cliche. Holy moly. Wow. So kiwi fruit, melon, definitely green fruit pastils, lovely, like smells chewy. Absolutely stunning aroma, just explodes out the glass. I could just sniff that all day. There is, because I'm always critical about our brews, yeah, it's a really freshly canned beer, and there's just a tiny hint of onion that I think will fade away in a matter of seconds, or slowly in the can. So it's going to taste amazing by the time you guys get your hands on it, by the time it's time for our festival on Saturday, 3 days away from today. Smells great. Wow, yeah, still really oily, really thick and rich, as if it's a New England yeast. Lovely bitter finish. That 40 IBUs is really well, not disguised, integrated is probably the word. Like, it's got some kind of sweetness, even though it ended up pretty dry. But that bitterness cuts through that kind of glycerol, that kind of oily character that all of these beers have really nicely. I don't think 40 IBUs is too much at all. I think all breweries should be doing that with their New England IPAs. I think it's perfect. Really clean profile. Almost West Coast kind of snap to the finish. Even cleaner than West Coast to some extent. It's really lovely, and what I think is going to be great about this beer, obviously I've only had 2 sips now, but because of that slight crispiness, because of that higher IBU, because of the fact that you haven't got those kind of, I guess, kind of flabby kind of esters from the yeast, I think this is going to be incredibly drinkable. A very dangerous and joyous 6% beer that we'll have to be very responsible with at the festival. I couldn't be happier with that beer. I think it's exactly what we set out to do, which isn't always the case with these collabs. They're often very delicious, but not exactly what we had in our minds. That is bang on. Green fruit pastils, kiwi, melon, a little bit of savouriness creeping in, and then a lovely crisp but full-bodied beer. It is absolutely stunning, and if you want to taste it bang fresh, you've got about 2 days to buy your tickets before Love and Beer 2024 opens its gates. We'll hopefully see you there.